Exciting. All right. So thank you, lady. Thank you, Zoom lady. And I'm here with my beautiful goddess of a friend, Joe. That's how I know you as Joe. And we were just having like a tiny little preamble about what we kind of have a conversation about today, about being in the present moment and what that even means and why it's a challenge to be in the present moment. Uh, just a conversation. So
Mm.
I've got my cup of tea. Funny, this is going to be funny. It's got "Make It Happen" on my on my mug, because, and that's what I was just saying to Joe as we were coming into this call. That's been that's been my go-to, right? Make it happen, hustle, push, force. That kind of frantic energy that has absolutely run my life up until now. And one of the things that I wanted to discuss, I want to have a little banter with my beautiful friend Joe, is why it's so normal to be in that space, right? That constant doing, that constant hustle, and why it's become normalized to not be here now, right? To not be in the present moment. And why am I even doing this? Because I'm launching a very powerful retreat that's coming up in May, and it's called The Power of the Present, because there's a lot of power that's in the present moment. And we keep ourselves so uh, disconnected from it, and we keep ourselves so disconnected from this power. So that's coming up. And I've also got a taste of the present, which is like a masterclass leading into the retreat, right? Giving people a taste of what even is this thing to be in the present moment. So that's what I'd love to have a little conversation with you about, Joe. And, maybe you could start by just sharing reflecting on what I've just said and how we came into this call, this other way of being in the world that most of us have been conditioned into, that's just normal. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny, I've literally just finished writing a post and I've just popped it up on socials now about like how long gone are the days where we were being busy as a badge of honor. Because remember, we literally used to wear, "Oh, I'm so busy," and that literally used to be our badge of honor. "Oh, I've had to do this," and I used to reel off lists of all the things I'd completed in a day and what I'd done, and did it just. But why was I doing that? I was doing that to prove that I was worthy. To prove that it was okay. Look, I've completed all of this, so I'm an important person. Not an important person, but I'm important. But I just think we've been so conditioned, as you say, into go, 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 strive, be busy, take action, hustle, hustle, hustle. And my business is actually called The Happiness Hustler, and that's irony, because I don't believe we have to hustle. I believe we can take action from a beautiful space of our own inner wisdom, our own inner knowing, and listening to ourselves, which is the only way we find out that piece of the puzzle is by being in the here and now, not in the past, not in the future, but right here in the moment. Because if we're not in the moment, we're not listening to ourselves. We're listening to the outside stimulus, which is still, when you look at it, it's still the condition is to go, 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 be busy, busy, busy. There's only people like you and I, and a minority of people who go, let's just slow the heck down, everyone, and let's just start going within and really being attuned to ourselves.
Yeah, what really struck me with what you just said is how much I test my worth on what I do, right? Which is what you're saying, and how it's successful to be doing, and it's successful to be achieving, and it's successful to be worn out and tired and overwhelmed and stressed, and that badge of honor was something that I wore for so long. And how I've watched myself as I've gained awareness about myself, because, man, that is just one of the things that now I can wear as a badge of honor, right? Get rid of the old badge of honor, and like this badge of honor about knowing myself, about being more aware about what I'm doing here, and how I would test my worth through my parenting, through being a parent first. And then when I kind of managed to wrestle that hat off, that, I'm more than just a parent, and, put on this coach hat and this teacher hat and facilitator hat and, this other hat, and how I tested my worth through there, right? Of pushing and trying to make things happen. And I loved what you said about taking action, because we still take action, right? But when we're in the present moment, it's a very different action, and it's a lot more aligned, for one thing. But what struck me with what you said was, I'm not trying to fix myself anymore. I'm not trying to be worthy anymore, right? I'm not trying to sort out something, fix something before I can, just do what I want to do, just do the thing, do what I love, right? Follow my heart. And that action is a very different thing. And I also discovered, right, this inability to be where I am, right? Like it's a trauma response to push and to keep going, right? It's like an uncomfortable being in the here and now. And then my own inquiry around that was like, why is it uncomfortable being in the here and now? And one of the things that I'd love to hear your thoughts on is, right, it doesn't feel good a lot of the time when we stop, right? Because we're no longer in that, I've got to get away from where I am. Yeah, it's that uncomfortability. And for me, the not good enough belief pushes this one like a boss, right? It's like, it's not good enough where I am, so I've got to be somewhere else, right? It's like the worth is going back into the past, right? I wasn't worthy in the past, so I've got to sort out and constantly test my worth. But the not good enough belief pushes me right into the future, because it's not okay where I am, right? I've got to be somewhere else. And it puts me in that perpetual, and a lot of the clients that I work with as well, it puts me in that perpetual motion of trying to get away from where I am, because it's not okay, right?
Absolutely. And there's many different facets there. And basically, I think if we all just stopped and actually just took a breath, the only thing we can possibly be sure of is this very second, right now. That is all we can be sure of. Yesterday is a story. Tomorrow is not promised. And the only thing we have is this very second. Yet, as you say, most people are not in the present moment. And why are we not in the present moment? Because we are either running away from an emotion or running towards an emotion. So we're either running away from, as you say, our worthy story, or not being enough, or being sad, or whatever it might be happening. And we're running towards happiness. We're running towards achievement. We're running towards our self-worth. We're running towards proving something, either to ourselves or to others. So if we can do this inner self-healing, where we do our inner work, where we get to that place where we just go, I am worthy, not for doing the laundry, not for being a parent, not for going to work, not for posting on social media, not for helping clients, not for climbing a mountain, not for running a marathon. Just for getting up each day and being me. I am worthy. You are worthy. My best friend is worthy. A stranger on the street, we are all worthy. We are all of equal worth. We are all walking miracles in this world. And that is to be cherished. Yet we are not cherishing that anywhere near enough. We are looking around and looking for accomplishments. Look at how we are programmed from the moment we go to school. Oh, you must do this. You must do this to get your next pen license. Why are you not running the race, Johnny? Get outside and run the race. It's about doing an accomplishment to prove what? To prove that these children are worthy. And we've all been programmed like that. Our parents were programmed like that. Their parents were programmed like that. And quite frankly, it's a crock of shit. The whole thing.
And the competitiveness, right? The competition that's in there.
And really, if we actually all sit down and go, think about how much you love your children. It's very easy to talk to parents like this because they love their children unconditionally, but we're not giving ourselves that same level of love, that same level of care, protection, cherishing ourselves. So if we can go in and do that inner work and heal from those past beliefs, those past conditionings, the past things that have been put on us, done to us, and we can get to a place where we love and value ourselves, all of a sudden, this very moment right here and now is not scary. It just is, whether we are doing something or nothing. And, it's really sad because when we miss out on this present moment, when we miss out on going with it within, we miss out on a ton of creativity and a ton of alignment, like really being truly aligned with the soul that is in our body, that has all of the answers for us, which is a place of beauty.
I was just looking to see that there's a few people that have joined us live. So still getting caught up in the doing and proving. Now, this is a comment that came through. Do my best at least to stay aware of how I am while doing the doing, right? It's like, yeah, because we're still moving in the world, right? But I think what I loved about what you said was around, it's like, well, but why, right? It's like, why do we come out of ourselves, right? Because yes, we're taught, we're conditioned. And it just brings me back to, I loved what you said about getting away from an emotion, right? Or chasing an emotion, like chasing the happiness, right? This elusive chase, because you never get there, right? Because happiness is fleeting, and when it's, I talk a lot about negative vision, right? We're in a negative vision when we're trying to get away from something.
Yeah.
Right, because it's just a reaction. It's never going to land. It's never going to fulfill. It's not actually what we're looking for. We're just trying to fix something, right? And it's like, but what is it? And I wrote a couple of things down because it doesn't feel good, right? Like stuff comes up when we stop, and this is the healing that you're talking about. And you touched on a few things, but grief, right? Grief, like giving this stuff to space to move. And a lot of this comes from conditioning as well. It's like when we're not given the space to be able to simply allow our bodies to move emotion the way that it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Because it made our parents so uncomfortable, right? Because it made their parents so uncomfortable, because it makes us so uncomfortable as parents, right? When our kids start kicking off and we weren't allowed to express fully when we were kids, so we start freaking out, and right, it starts to erupt inside of us, and we just want to shut it down, and to actually be present in the moment with that without trying to shut it down and make it go away, right? Because that's where it comes from. So yeah, I know that going through, right, being in the present moment is to feel, right? It's to feel whatever's there, and to be present to it. But one of the things that has really landed for me over the last little while is to be able to be there without judgment. Right?
It's a huge one.
Without judging what's happening, because if we're just trying to get away from it, which is that not good enough belief pushing, right? And you think about it, they're not good enough. We wake up, so many of us, and I spent so much of my time in this space from a not enough perspective, right? Mindset from the moment we wake up, right? I didn't get enough sleep. I haven't got enough time, right? It's like I could list it all off, resources, right? Space for myself, right? Whatever it is. And to be able to just pause and to be able to even begin, right, this journey of being able to feel what we're feeling and be in the present moment, understanding that with the stuff that plays out, it's always gonna, always gonna sort of feel this push or this pull, either way to get out of the present moment.
It's going to be uncomfortable until you get comfortable with it.
Exactly.
But when you get comfortable with it, then you want to go to your next step anyway, because we're forever evolving. So as soon as you get comfortable, you want to kind of almost go back into some kind of discomfort, because it's in the discomfort is where the growth is. So it's this funny evolution, this funny journey of life, but we're never going to be able to be fully present until we work through that discomfort.
Yeah.
And it does just take a bit of practice. Like I think, we've had similar backgrounds in the way that we've been pushing and going. I was a single mum of 4 kids. I had 2 businesses. I was pushing, I was leaving an abusive marriage. I was like, I can do this. I can do it. I'm going to do it all on my own. I've never met a fiercely independent woman who was born and not made.
Mm.
You know, we are made this way. And it just takes that little bit of practice, that slowing down, you know, because if you look at what you're talking about, the push, the push, the push, that's all very, very masculine energy. We
Mm.
have been run by a patriarchal society for quite too many centuries,
Mm.
and it's gone very much into the negative masculine. It's the, you know, the control, the greed, the corruption, and everybody is underneath all of that, trying in their own little ant-like way to make it in the world. Whereas if we're all as these little ants, if we all just went, nope, not doing that anymore, then the whole termite mound would crumble. And it's now coming back into, you know, I've been hearing the message for so many years, the rise of the divine feminine, rise of the divine feminine. I had no idea what it meant. Now I totally know what it means.
Yep.
It's about connecting with that inner beauty that's stopping. Because when we stop and when we connect in and when we do that healing and when we come to a place where we do have a little bit more emotional wisdom, where we can sit and we can feel our own emotions and we can hold others while they feel theirs without being scared, without wanting to fix it. When we connect in with that beautiful feminine energy and we trust that our masculine energy is keeping us safe and secure and is there for protection within each and every one of us, that is when we can be in more flow and grace and ease, and we're not pushing against a big force. Instead, we are taking action, and we're like the stream coming down the river. And yes, we might hit some pebbles and some boulders, but we'll learn how to get round them and through them and over them. But we're not trying to push the water upstream anymore.
Mm.
It's not as tiring, it's not
Mm.
as exhausting, and we don't wake up in the morning with all those excuses.
Yep.
And if we do wake up tired, we go, what can I do about that? Do I just need to go back to bed for an extra hour, rather than going, I need to do this, this, and this. I need to tick off 573 things off my to-do list today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Yeah, and I did that the other morning. I went back to bed, right? I went back to bed. So there's a softening, right? There's a softening. And I know for me that, you know, I look at myself now as opposed to sort of 15, 20 years ago, even maybe a little bit more than 10, where I had like pixie short haircut because it was just easier when I wasn't, you know, a mum of young kids. And, you know, I was much harder, like, you know, just even to physically look at.
Yep.
And now there's a softening here,
Yep.
right? And I love that you're talking about feminine energy, and a lot of what I've experienced in myself, and a lot of what I hear back from clients and people in my programs and trainings is like, it's not safe in the present moment, right? It's not safe to be in my feminine energy. I've got to have this protection. I've got to have my sword drawn. And I had my sword drawn for most of my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't even I kept people at arm's length. It was like at sword's length, right? Like, don't come anywhere near, right? I'm going to like this. And to actually be able to like let the armor drop and not only sheathe the sword, because I did that for a while. It was like, well, I know it's there, right? I'm watching, right? And but to actually put the sword down, knowing that I don't need it anymore.
Mm.
I don't need to wear these masks, and I don't need to have this armor on. I can be open. Because one of the things that really landed for me is that safety doesn't exist in the past, right? And if we're projecting the past onto the future, and so often I think it does, right? Well, I've got to go through all that stuff to feel secure, and I've got to fix those problems, and you know, and then I've got to worry about the future, and that's going to keep me safe and secure, you know, because I've got everything, you know, in my head, and but that's not discernment, right? And
Mm.
the discernment lives in the present moment, and safety lives in the present moment, because that's when the feminine is here, right? Without the protection and the, you know, which is, it so obviously comes from these old hurts and these old wounds and these old experiences that we've all had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of us have come through life unscathed, right? We all have stuff that's happened in the past, but whether or not we just keep dragging that with us and dumping it into in front of us and in our relationships and, you know, whatever's happening in our world, or if we can actually leave the past in the past. And for me, that's exactly what the retreat is about. It's called the power of the present, but the only way that we can feel the power of the present is if the past is over, right? As if we actually draw a line in the sand and say, right, that's where that lives. I'm not going to keep bringing it up. I'm not going to keep churning through it. I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to shine a light on that stuff, yeah, but not keep feeding it, right? And this is what is so often happening,
Yeah, I
not only
agree.
feeding the past, but if we're worrying about the future, we're just taking, it's like picking up the path behind us and chucking it in front, right? But it's just a projection of the past into the future. Whereas vision, and let's talk about this a little bit, because I know you and I were on a call this morning and we were talking about this, because vision, right? Vision is different from worrying about the future, right? And I know for me that when I started becoming aware of my vision, about what I envision, about what I would love, about what I would want to experience in my life, rather than trying to get away from what I don't, right? Or trying to fix all the problems, yeah. Um, Things started to change hugely once I shone a light on what was there, but also started to really get connected with what I would love. And it just means that I connect into the vision, and then I come back to the present moment, right? I connect in with the vision, because if you stay in the vision, right, nothing ever gets done, because the action takes place in the present moment. So it's going to stay there and, oming and, going up and receiving the intuition and, but actually coming back into the present moment. So vision, right? How important is that? Because for me, intuition, right? The vision of what we would love exists in the present moment.
Absolutely. And it depends where you're creating your vision from. So are you, as you say, this is why it's so important to do this healing journey and to do this inner work, which is it's such a courageous step to take. And I honor everybody who does it. But it's like, if you're going to look at your future and try and vision it from that place of wounding, you're bringing your vision down or shortchanging yourself a little bit. Whereas if you can do it from a place where you can leave I always think about it like, we can carry this ball and chain from our bag, our past around with us, or we can learn to deal with it and pop it in a suitcase, and we can go back and visit it when we need to. Because sometimes you do need to, we need to go back and do a little bit more healing, or go and look into that a little bit more for some more answers. And that's okay. That's a forever journey we're on. We just don't want to be dragging it around with us every day. And if you can pop it in that suitcase and sit in the present moment, in your power, in your glory of the magical, unique person you are, and you can sit there and you can envision your future, well, you're going to go for so much more, and you're going to believe that you are worthy of it, because you have done that inner work, and that is powerful, that is potent, and that's where I want people to be. And then, as you say, you look at that, you go, that's where I want to go. I want to help 1 million people feel happy. Let's just say that. I want to help 1 million women heal their wounds from the past so they can shine, because I know for every woman that stands in her glory, that ripple effect will go and heal the world. So that's my vision. I'm doing it from this healed place now. Whereas in the past, it might have been, oh, I just want to buy a house, and I just want to have enough food to feed my kids. That's okay.
Survival.
That's an okay vision as well. I'm not dissing that at all. I always want to have that for my children and myself. But I wasn't thinking the big picture of what I could achieve and what the ripple effect of the entire world was going to be. And as you say, then if that's our vision, that's a beautiful vision. You've got the most amazing visions. You've got the most beautiful visions. I know what you're doing for your community, but you're doing it from this place of power, but you're also doing it from a place of forever evolving and forever looking within and seeing how you can make change, which is, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing place to be, isn't it? And then to sit there and to own up going, I was on the rat race once upon a time and it didn't feel good, and now I'm learning not to be. And that's how we take people to the next step, by doing our own inner learnings.
Yeah. Yeah. Constant evolution.
Constant evolution.
Constant evolution. And I love the suitcase, but I mean, we language it a little bit differently, where we'll have a like a victim circle or a circle of the past, and where all that stuff lives, and then a creator circle, right? A vision circle of where we would love to the end result of what we would love to create. And where are we orientating, right? It can be there. It's a part of us. And I think this is a beautiful piece to close on, that our past is a part of us, right? And to deny it, to try and get away from it, to try and fix it, right? Or to sweep it under the rug and try and ignore that it's there, right? It denies a part of who we are, right? And that doesn't help, because that just feeds it more juice. But to be able to be with these two orientations, right? The vision of what we would love, and the past of where we've come from, of what's created us to this point. And I know one of the things that is just coming now, the call that we were on this morning said our mess is our message, right? And I love that. It's like it speaks to the alchemy that I love to work with people within, because we've all got lead, right? That we can change to gold. We've all got mess that can create a message that we want to bring out to the world, whether that's with our children or with our partners, or at a much wider scale. So I love all of this conversation around, how can we become more present with what we would love in our lives, rather than this place that is so often driven by a lack of safety, a lack of security, right? This normalized behavior that we've all been conditioned with, that thinking is the way, right? And we just override our feelings, or try and get away from them and numb them out, and don't allow ourselves to actually be in the present moment, and to receive the power that's there, right? That'd be why I called it the power of the present, right? It's there, and there's
Beautiful.
there's so much available there, so much creativity, so much beauty and awe, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
And we miss out if we're not in the present, we're actually missing out on life. That's actually the truth. That's the be all and end all. We are literally missing out on our life as we are living it, because we are not the past. We should be thankful for everything that happened in the past, because it's made us who we are today, and we're all amazing. But we are literally going to miss out on life if we do not live in the present. And there's as you say, there's so much beauty in the present. So I think your upcoming retreat will be potent and powerful, and just what's needed.
Yeah, I love what you just said. The aliveness is in the present, right? Yeah, and we're missing out on life, and I know I missed out on a lot of life, so I've been making up for that, right? Enjoyment and
Never too late.
Yeah,
never too late.
It's beautiful. Okay, well, Jo, thank you so much for having a little chat and a cup of tea. I
love it.
My tea. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and that you find the presence in each one of the moments that you're going to go forth and have. Absolutely honoring you, your journey, who you are, the goddess that you are, and would love to have another chat sometime soon, probably about something completely different.
Definitely. Lots of love.
All right, beauty.
Thank you.
Ciao.
See you soon.
Bye,
Bye.
darling.